off by saying congratulations on the brand new album. I've been able to take a listen, and it's a fantastic album. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, mate. We're very proud of it.
So, mate, tell us a little bit about the band, because we're going to play a couple of singles off the album very, very shortly. And this is the first time that our listeners have ever got to hear your band. So tell us a little bit about the band's history.
Mate, we formed approximately 4 years ago. Eve is native South African and has been in Australia for 10 or so years. And the initial sort of connotation of the band was a three-piece. Eve, singer-songwriter, acoustic guitar, violinist, Lil, the beautiful Lil, who's no longer with us, and myself on the drums. And we've morphed a little bit since then, but basically that was the start of August River Band, and it's progressed on since then. But this album was recorded live at Yamanui Studios with the help of Paulie Bromley. And believe it or not, we recorded it live in an hour.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about how you all met in the first place to start the band.
So I'm sort of an artist, and Eve was doing some satellite work with a good friend of his at a framing shop. And I had some of my art there, and we met, through a mutual friend. And it turned out that we were musos, and I saw a post on Facebook with him and Lil doing some stuff, and I caught up with him the next day just by fluke, and I said, mate, I loved your music that you posted on socials. There was only one thing wrong with it: it didn't have drums, and the rest is history.
Wow.
So so we started off in a bedroom, just in a basement, just punching out a few tunes, and it sort of went through there, from there.
You mentioned that the new album was recorded in a studio within an hour. Tell us a little bit about what made you go to that decision to do the album live rather than record it the traditional way.
So we had done some tunes at a place in Brisbane at Sanford called Airlock Studios, which Ian Hogg from Powderfinger fame owns.
Yep.
And although we'd had a wonderful time there, we just didn't think that we captured what we were about.
Yep.
And we're quite we're an emotive band. It's a violin, acoustic guitar, and we just didn't think we fully captured it. So we, through some mutual friends, reached out to Paulie, and we felt that we were going to get our best result by recording live.
Yep.
And we decided to go to the studio, set up, come with, some songs that we'd worked on for, very hard on, in their structure and so forth for, a couple of years. And we thought, let's give this a go. So we ran through it, one day and did a couple of run-throughs. And the following day, we did one more run-through. We had to define 10 songs. And at 2 o'clock, one day we just, away it went, we went crazy, and that was it. But we felt that the organic nature of that was going to suit us, and hence the reason why we went down that road. And it should be said that consequently since, we've been back in the studio, and we've actually taken a different approach where Paulie's actually producing it, and we're taking a lot more time and energy and probably doing it more the traditional way.
Did you feel more pressure recording it live like that, or do you actually feel that it was more of a relief for you guys to be able to film it that way?
Mate, I think at that time it was perfect.
Yeah.
We had worked really hard. There's one thing that August River Band can't be accused of, and that's not working hard.
Yep.
We'd worked hard. We'd done as much live work at that particular stage as we could, and we'd worked really hard in the recording and the practice rooms, and so we were pretty comfortable with it, mate. And
yep.
Paulie was wonderful as well because away we went, and the vibe was there, and he just said, "Let's keep going. Let's go to the next song," and so it worked out really well. I'll say it again: we're really, really proud of it. It's really cool.
And what kind of things were inspiring you when you sat down to work on the tracks themselves, like with the music and the lyrics? Were there different themes that kept on coming through? Because when you listen to the album, It is a very, very emotive and a very, very personal album, it feels like.
Look, Eve is our singer-songwriter, and they are very personal and very emotional to Eve. You know, they're basically a journal of his trials and tribulations with relationships and family and all sorts of things that we all suffer from, or that we all rejoice in, or that we all encounter. And so, it's very much, and Thank You Pain is literally, there's a theme there of the hurt and the anguish and the lessons. And then, of course, in the choruses, there's a rejoicefulness of, the lessons that you learn from those, emotional and sometimes difficult times. So as much as it's an emotive album, it's also a very rejoiceful album as well,
And what are the plans now for the band now the album is out there? The whole country is starting to open back up. Are you looking to get out there and do some shows now that everything is open back up as well?
Mate, very much so. I mean, we're not Lone Ranger. I mean, we all have been affected. The human race has been affected by the last few years. And mate, we're very much hoping to. Again, we're working on some new material, and we're very much hoping that next year we've already started planning a bit of a tour. And we love that. That's what we're about. We're a live band. Being in the studio is really cool, but we love reaching out and being with people and getting that feedback and taking people on a bit of a roller coaster ride at the show. So, mate, definitely, we're hoping next year is a very busy year from a live point of view.
Awesome. Well, we are going to play 2 tracks from the album now. We're going to play Crazy and In My Arms. I was wondering if you could tell our listeners a little bit about those 2 tracks.
Absolutely. So Crazy is about living each day, day to day. I mean, a relationship that we don't give each other space. And that concept of, because you're together or you're partners or you're married, it's crazy that we're in each other's faces every single minute. We need to back off there. So that's Crazy. And In My Arms is an interesting one. You shouldn't be here in my arms. In other words, if you keep calling me, I'm going to keep coming and seeing you, and the sex is great, but there's no connection here.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be here in my arms. And so, again, both relation-driven.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you'd like to say to our listeners out there before they take a listen to these 2 amazing tracks and go out and grab themselves a copy of the album as well?
Look, thanks for listening to August River Band and enjoy. We hope that it resonates with maybe some feelings or maybe some times that you've had.